Right, hello, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. We've got 5 people viewing so far. We may have a couple others that join in later. There is a slight delay in the video, so if you were to, for example, text in a question, I will get to it, but you'll see your answer about 30 seconds later. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for agreeing to volunteer on Monday. We really appreciate you stepping in to help us out. If you're not familiar with the Finance Park Virtual Program, it is our program for high school seniors, and it's part of their economics course. So they're required to receive financial literacy education in order to graduate high school.
Get ready for a glimpse of the future, because it's almost time to enter JA Finance Park. Who will you be? What will you do for a living? What will your family be like? After preparing yourself with in-class personal finance lessons, you'll put your skills to the test. Get a new identity, a job, a salary, and a personal life. Create your look. Calculate how much money you make, and decide how you want to spend it. Where will you live? What kind of car will you drive? Where will you shop? Just beware, every decision has a consequence, and spending big in one area will force you to spend less somewhere else. So explore all 18 businesses before making any purchases. Get helpful tips and insights from professionals, and then choose some of the products and services they offer. Your goal? To plan carefully so that you can account for your monthly income in the best possible way. But JA Finance Park isn't all business. Finish early and you'll unlock bonus features. What will you invest in? Who will your neighbors be? What will you find? You can earn points and awards by working quickly and accurately. So, the only question left is, are you ready for the challenge? Let the journey begin.
Okay, so what you've seen there is an overview of what the students will experience. That is their culminating experience. This program lasts 25 days in the classroom, and it is mainly taught by the teacher. So the teacher is responsible for 19 days of curriculum. They spend 2 days with the virtual simulation where they're assigned a life and have to use all of the skills that they've learned. And then there are 4 days of volunteer visits, and that's where you come in. This is what makes Junior Achievement Program unique. What our expectations are from the volunteer is that you deliver the lesson, but more importantly than that, that you show students different ways that they can be successful. So tell them about yourselves, tell them about how you got to where you are, and that way students have the opportunity to define different avenues for success. There are lots of different roads, there are lots of different job opportunities, and we want students to experience that. The very first thing that you're going to need to do is complete a background check through Orange County Public Schools, and the form there is called Additions. If you go to ocps.net and search for Additions, their link consistently changes. So you'll go there, and then you're going to click on Online Application or Check Status. Because the volunteer date is on Monday, when you finish filling this out, it's going to tell you that they need 1 to 2 weeks, but I will know by 5 o'clock today if everyone has been cleared. So make sure that in your application you select Junior Achievement in the drop-down, and that's going to alert the district so that they can make sure everyone clears through the system. Before you get to the visit, you're going to review the lesson and make those enhancements in places that you feel comfortable, and I'll review all of the details in the lesson in just a moment. You're also going to make email contact with the teacher. By now, you should have all received an email from me that's got the teacher name and the teacher's email so that you can communicate with them information about their class that may be helpful to you. So for example, maybe they group their students a particular way. Maybe they're an AP class that has a lot of information. Maybe they are a class that's a little bit further behind where you need to teach a little slower or possibly explain definitions more clearly. The teacher will share that information with you. Once you arrive at the school, we recommend giving yourself about 20 minutes of time. There are 2 checkpoints. The first is going to be at the parking lot where a security officer will ask for your driver's license. The second will be at the main office. You'll sign in there and again show your government issued ID. At that sign-in, they will direct you on where the classroom is located. So you will need the teacher name. Now, if you have any problems when you get to the sign-in, please call me on my cell phone. You'll have all of that in my email. If you don't, however, have a government-issued ID, I cannot help you even if you call me. So please make sure that you have an ID with you when you get to the campus. Okay, once you get to the classroom, you'll introduce yourself to the teacher. And keep in mind, the teacher can't leave the room while you're teaching. On a regular day, they don't ever leave the classroom, so on a day that a volunteer visits, it should be no different. Allow the teacher, to be responsible for any kind of discipline issues in the room, and really class control. Because you're working with high school seniors, you're not going to see very many of those problems. They are, for the most part, adults and know how to be respectful. So have a lot of fun with them. The more authentic you are, the more authentic they're going to be with you. If there is something that you do need assistance with, the teacher can help you. If you plan on using any kind of technology, whether you have a presentation you want to show or a YouTube video you find you want to show them, you can. Just make sure that the teacher is aware ahead of time so they have the technology available. There are a couple of campuses that have different technology availability in the classroom. All of the schools have it, but sometimes the teacher has to request it ahead of time. So please make that request prior to your arrival. We've got volunteer conduct standards, and they cover 4 main pieces. Okay, the first is that young people are looking to adults for examples of appropriate behavior. We expect that you dress appropriately and act appropriately while you're in the classroom. Business casual is okay, but we would stay away from ripped or torn up jeans. If your company's got a volunteer shirt, then it would be okay for you to wear a t-shirt, but otherwise be a little bit more dressy than a traditional cotton t-shirt. The next piece is that volunteers must take particular care when touching youth. Now this mainly applies when students are in kindergarten or first grade because all of them want to come up and give you a hug. When you're dealing with high school seniors, you're not going to have too much of an issue here, but still allow any kind of contact to be student initiated. So if they want to shake your hand, allow them to initiate the handshake, and then it's okay. The third part is that interactions with students must both be appropriate and also appear appropriate. So at no time should you find yourself alone with a student, and let's say someone's in your class and you happen to know them from outside of school, whether it's through church or through recreational baseball league or something like that. Don't make comments in the hallway of, oh, I'll see you next Wednesday night, because that could appear inappropriate to somebody who isn't familiar with your existing relationship. The last piece is that you're going to be responsible for the quality of interactions with the students. So watch out for their body language. A lot of times they're going to be very shy, and if they don't understand something you've just said, they may not raise their hand immediately to ask you. So pay attention for those nonverbal cues on pieces that you may need to go back and re-explain some of the material. The last piece is that we've got a social media policy, and social media use is allowed, but it's certainly not recommended. People who are not your friends and family may perceive things that you post differently than the way that you intend it, so we recommend staying completely off of social media. However, on this identity theft lesson, social media is going to play a very important role, because through social media, it has become easier for people to steal identity. So it's definitely something that you want to talk about and discuss a lot with students, but then don't become their friends afterwards, okay? If you have questions, again, you've got my cell phone, my email, and my office phone number. Let's jump right into the lesson so that you can see those pieces. Hello, so everyone will receive a packet. The folders look like this, and you'll have one of these for each class period that you teach. Now, that's because there's enough materials for every student. So for this particular lesson, it's going to have three parts in it, okay? The first is going to be your guide, and that's what we're going to look at first. The overview explains what the lesson is, and the teacher introduction is actually referring to you, the volunteer, not the classroom teacher. There we'll have all of the facts and figures, so if you had no idea about the topic, now you have a basis to get you started. The information here, though, is just a skeleton. You're encouraged to add outside information. Okay, this particular lesson time will take approximately 30 minutes, and you'll have a 45-minute class. So make sure you tell the students about yourself or any of your personal experiences you've had with identity theft. The next piece is going to talk about the steps for the activity. Now, all of the junior achievement materials are activity-based. We don't believe in lecture-based teaching, and students have more fun, and volunteers also engage more when there is a hands-on activity taking place. So for this particular lesson, you're going to sort cards. So you've got cards that look like this. You will need to cut these out ahead of time so that they're prepared for the students to place in the correct category. Then each student will also get a worksheet. The worksheets that they get will have tips on how to prevent identity theft, how to prevent credit card theft, and how to prevent debit card theft. And it's got different tips for how to prevent each kind. With high school seniors, a lot of the times it's good to just have them take some guesses before looking at the tip sheet and sort of having them think through that process and then showing them the tip sheet so that together you can figure out what the correct answers are for each of the tips. In addition, if you don't have a personal story for identity theft, I'll tell you mine, and that's one that you can share with the students. I didn't think that I needed a credit card. I was very fortunate. My parents gave me a car when I was 16 years old. I left to college and I had enough money to go to school and enough scholarship to actually make money off of going to school. So I never needed a credit card. I never applied for one. I never looked up my credit, never did any of that. When I was 20, I decided I wanted to get a new car, and I went to car dealership after car dealership, and I was continually denied. And I kept saying, but I'm reading your programs, and it says you have all of these special features. You know, if you're a college student, if you have little or no credit, there are certain things that would make you eligible, and I don't understand why I don't qualify, because all of the bills that I do have, I pay everything on time. I thought, I don't owe anyone any money. After 4 car dealerships, I went to find out what my credit score was so that I could see, you know, what the real problem was. And at that point, I found out that when I was 14 years old, somebody had charged $28,000 in my name. Now, I could go back to correct all of that, and that's something that you can share with the students, but it is a really long process to get that erased. And then once it is erased, to start building credit again from zero. It's different to be 18 years old and have no credit than it is to be 23 years old and have no credit. So it's something that follows you and follows you. And there's a lot of things that students can do to prevent that ahead of time. I'm sure you or your friends and family have had issues with credit or debit cards that get lost or stolen, and issues that result in identity theft. So share those stories with those students. At this time, so far I haven't received any questions, so I'm going to hope everyone is prepared with the lesson. Now, some tips for the classroom. Students are high school students. They're 17 years old. You may have a student or two that comes in and puts their head down on the desk and isn't really engaged. Let that student be. Focus on everyone who is engaged and have a good time with the lesson. We've asked teachers to intentionally not deal with any of those students while the volunteers in the classroom so that the energy level in the room isn't brought down. And hopefully that student will turn it around and decide, you know what, everyone's participating, let me jump in and participate here as well. I hope everyone's has a great time at the schools and finds this to be a very rewarding experience. Again, thank you so much for volunteering your time today and on Monday. If you have any questions, please call me or email me. We really appreciate it. Thanks. Bye-bye.